the 2019 market bottom, I got caught on the sidelines waiting to buy Bitcoin lower. I listened to on-chain gurus and their favorite metrics. Everyone today, this is the best Bitcoin and crypto thread I think you're going to see. I want to lay out what he's talking about in this video. There are 3 metrics that I think are crucial to getting a grasp on what is going on in the markets. First things first, though, I was just kind of reading through headlines of the day. Dow rallies 400 points after jobs report. NASDAQ hits highest level in more than a year. Dow futures rise. Jobs report in focus after Senate approves debt ceiling deal. I went over to NASDAQ, and this is what I just saw, and I wanted to point out because it just clicked for me. What we just went through. Look at this. 575 days basically from the NASDAQ high to all this consolidation of volatility, bear market, recession, everything that's going on right now. 575 days. Bitcoin, 567 days or so from the all-time high to where we are right now, right in the middle of the Bitcoin halvings. It just clicked how much we've been through. We just survived another bear market. And right now, there's still a lot of volatility to, keep in mind and be mindful of. But this is huge in what we're going to talk about, and that is getting sidelined. That is letting fear kind of get to you from an emotional perspective and making decisions. And this is not to create any type of fear of missing out or urge anybody to do anything. This is how I see the charts and the markets and how I see things coming together. This is 100% my opinion. Keep in mind, this is such a risky and volatile environment, but all of this tying into what Jesse over here, and I just came across this thread, is mentioning. And this is really good data, everybody. I'm telling you, it is really good data. Hit the subscribe and like, and let's just jump into it. After 6 years full-time learning, I believe there's 3 reliable price drivers. Number 1, Bitcoin halvings. So we talk about Bitcoin halvings all the time. They're on the chart. From just a consistency perspective, it's unbelievable so far how Bitcoin has just over and over and over again repeated these cycles, all revolving around this scarcity factor, basically, the Bitcoin halving. Number 2, human psychology amplifying volatility in the wake of the halvings. The human psychology of it. How often do we say it's people behind the charts? Well, obviously, we look at charts and patterns and technical analysis all the time. It's so reliable because it's human beings and the emotion. It's that fear and greed index type of vibe that we have playing out on the charts over and over again, cycle after cycle. And then number 3, macroeconomic conditions. I can't say this enough. Macroeconomic conditions, I don't know, it just happened this way, but playing in so nicely with the cycles of Bitcoin. If you look at Bitcoin, just in the middle of halvings, bull market, down into the bear market, middle of halving, bull market, down the bear market, middle of halving, bull market, down into bear market, put aside macroeconomic conditions, the fact that we got the bear market right before this recession really starts hitting is so huge from just a timing perspective. It just worked out so well because now, as we do get ready for things to turn around, we do get ready for the NASDAQ and zoom out on the NASDAQ. Look at this. This is huge consolidation from a market perspective for this NASDAQ in this long-term uptrend. This is a weekly chart, right? So as all of these things are kind of coming together and maybe in the midterm, maybe the rest of this year, it's volatile, right? On the macro, we just went through something crazy. So check out what he says here. Here are 3 worth knowing in terms of these data points. The 2-year moving average multiplier. This metric shows when the market is running much hotter or colder than the average Bitcoin price over the prior 2 years. I think it captures something about how we collectively adjust our fair valuation of Bitcoin slowly as a society. Bitcoin has been in this parabolic uptrend, right? How do you capture that fair value, the fair valuation of Bitcoin? Well, this is a nice picture of markets doing that. It really is. And I like how he says how we collectively adjust our fair valuation. And you can just see from this chart alone, this 2-year, it's a 2-year moving average, right? The green is cold, and then that's bear market-ish, and then the red is the bull market, right? So you can just see typical to previous bear markets leveling out in terms of price, the valuation, the fair valuation of Bitcoin price, leveling out and getting ready for the next cycle. Just such a nice visualization of this process of fair valuation of Bitcoin. MV, RV, Z score, just a bunch of letters. This metric quantifies the degree of variance between the current market price of Bitcoin and the average last value at which coins moved. Again, this captures something about the human psychology of this market. Driver number 2, more than anything else. And check this out. You can see Bitcoin and this metric leveling out, right? So the orange that you see there is the Z score, and just in this bear market, previous to other bear markets, leveling out, right? And we're getting this pop to the upside right now. And I want to just note something because we're going to talk about this. We got a similar pop out of the last bear market in 2019, and then it revisited back down. This plays into something we're about to talk about. Cumulative value coin days destroyed. This one is the most mysterious. This metric captures the extent of distribution of long-held coins over time, which seems to directly correlate to the extent the price floor of what people value Bitcoin at shifts upward over time. Look at this metric, bottoming out in this bear market as previous bear markets, also tying into everything that we just kind of talked about, the value of Bitcoin and how that kind of shifts and moves over time. Really valuable data points. But underlining these things, he says, number 1 and 2 create this dynamic. So the Bitcoin halvings and human psychology creating this dynamic. Check it out. You are here. This is the exiting the bear market type of deal. But notice it's not the bull market. Notice how it's not just going parabolic into a bull market here, and we're prior to the 2024 halving. This is something I've talked a lot about, and it's also just something that ties into this chart alone. Remember, we just talked about this pop in 2019 and revisit before the actual real bull market. Well, go to the Bitcoin chart. It's kind of this similar move that we had in 2019, and it's just this thing I've been thinking a lot about lately. This period of time going into the next halving. And you can see on his chart here, he really illustrates it very nicely. You are here. Here's the halving. Just this volatility, up, down, sideways, going into the next halving. Look at previous bear markets. Up, down, sideways, going into the 2020 halving. Up, down, sideways, going into 2016 halving. It's this period of time. I think we survived the worst. You can see it on the chart. I think we have. That's my opinion. But now this might even feel worse to many people. Just maybe sideways. And I think that's what we need to prepare for. But I think that time will go by so quick. Look how fast all of this went. And this was brutal. That's 567 days went by very quickly. How fast do you think this will go by? Whether it's up and then down and then sideways, or whatever it looks like, down and then up and then sideways. How do you think this period of time will play out? And I think it's a matter of preparing as we lead into the next Bitcoin halving. And these metrics do such a phenomenal job of really just portraying that picture of patience that I think is worthwhile to have. And it really is, for me, it's about not getting sidelined and just being prepared, being on my game as I prepare for the next cycle. That is not guaranteed. It's just not. This could all fall. It could all go to zero. It's just the extreme of it all. So I keep that in mind as I evaluate my approach to these markets. But really good thread by Jesse over here on Twitter, and shout out to him. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, everybody. What do you think about these data points? I think they tie really nicely into the story we've been tracking. That is the cycles of Bitcoin, the cycles of crypto. Hit the subscribe and like. I will see you in the next video. God bless.